Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and Money in the Bank was yesterday, so I wanted to do the match ratings. Overall, I mean, it was a mixed bag. So I think jumping into it and going piece by piece and attributing other stuff that was going on, I'll try to put it into a tier list too, even though I don't have a visual representation of it, because we had a lot. So obviously we started off Money in the Bank. Trish Stratus was the host. That was pretty cool. I think that was a good add on to it. She didn't really get to do much, but like just her being there was a good idea. Plus, I feel like uh, Triple H teasing a surprise and then having Trish Stratus there always kind of felt like, well, does he mean that? And then we weren't 100% sure what we were going to see the rest of the night. And then when we get the bigger surprise, we were very shocked. And we'll get to that when we get to that. So let's first start off with the Money in the Bank match of the men's side. We had LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre versus Carmelo Hayes versus Chad Gable versus Jey Uso versus Andrade. Now, automatically, just because it's the last person said Andrade, I in my prediction video I said Andrade had the least chance of winning, and I still believe that. But that man had one of the best showings out there, and I knew he would because he's like one of the best wrestlers in that six. I don't think that's really even controversial to say. I think like if you look at the six wrestlers, he's definitely in the top half of them. Just pure wrestling, nothing else. He can do it. So he had some great, amazing spots. We had some really good spots with Carmelo Hayes, and even LA Knight had, he took a huge bump at the end. Chad Gable doing Chad Gable things with his suplexes was really cool to show off all the things. I think like honestly, 5 out of 6 men really had like really good showings, like did amazing stuff. I think the only one that didn't really do that was Drew McIntyre, and I think that's because they didn't really need him. He just needed to be out there and angry. Um, I personally had believed that Jey Uso was going to win. This was the match that I couldn't really tell you. I believe in my prediction video, the number two choice I had was Drew McIntyre, and that's where they went with it. I feel like they're setting up Drew McIntyre for a huge, weirdly disappointing year, and I think that from what we could see, what happened tonight, that fits perfectly. He won the Money in the Bank, and then he tried to cash in, which we'll get to that part when we get to the Rollins and Damian Priest match. I think in general the match itself was really good. I would put it in the amazing. I don't know. You just cannot get past a ladder match and it not be at least around amazing, if not better. It's one of those things that like it's so good to have ladders and the spots that they did. I do believe there could have been some spots that were better. I think we could have got a little bit more from Drew, maybe a little bit more from just a lot of interactions with different people, setting up stuff. I really wanted like Logan Paul to come down to mess up LA Knight at one point because I think that would have helped their rivalry. Maybe he wasn't available and they couldn't do that part, but that part kind of sucks because I think like that could have built on it. We did get some story threads, but not as much as on the women's side and around the other matches here. Next up, we had Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. Again, the theme of the night was like really good matches, but bad ending on a lot of these, and this was another one like that. The match was just absolutely amazing. Like, I want another one of these. I hope we get another one of these. I think we're gonna get like a triple threat or like a fatal four way for SummerSlam, so that could be dicier depending on who's in it. But this match was great, but I really do believe Braun Breaker was the right choice there. I just don't, and like, not having him lose by DQ or having something happen with shenanigans where he takes himself out, like, it just kind of felt like Sammy would clean, and it doesn't really feel like why Braun Breaker would get a rematch. Like, unless he, like, really is like, hey, I gotta center myself, I just wanted to do too much. But even then, it's just like he doesn't deserve a rematch. He lost. He just flat out lost the match. So that part, that ending, I think made the match a little sour in my brain. Because at least like I don't mind that Sammy won. Like Sammy's been a really good Intercontinental champion, and he's been defending it. He's doing everything he's supposed to. But like I think not having Breaker lose in a way that like could set up a rematch kind of made the match a little bit less than normal. I think it was a good match. I don't think I would ever go back to watching it. I feel like they their offense went back and forth pretty well, but I feel like Breaker just wasn't the beast that he had been for the last couple weeks. They made him like run into a wall, which was Sami Zayn, and he's taken out capable wrestlers and stuff. So it's like I'll put it in good. I feel like the ending is what really knocked the amazing category for me, and I think that's just more of a personal choice on it. Next up, we have Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins. Now, there's a lot in this match. So we're gonna rate the cash in also on it because I think that's the solid part of the match because it goes right into a triple threat with Drew McIntyre cashing in. So the first part of the match, Damian Priest and Seth Rollins, I think really had some good back and forth. I think the match was set up to being like a really good one. I would have definitely put up into the botched pin. I think would have been an amazing match. But then you had the botched pin. This is a world heavyweight title championship, and I know everybody makes mistakes, but that is one big glaring mistake because of the ramifications of it. Rollins can never, challenge again, and with the cash in coming in afterwards, it just seemed very bad that Damian Priest did not kick out. Everybody saw it. Everybody was weirded out. It wasn't like a close call. He just straight up didn't kick out, and that really soured the match. And then you had Drew McIntyre cashing in, which we didn't know if he was going to be successful or not, but he ended up just going out there about to cash in. CM Punk comes out there, and then CM Punk stops him. Then we get the pin from Damian Priest on Drew McIntyre, wins it. So all the ramifications of it is that Damian Priest still does not look like a champion because he still has not won clean. So we're gonna have to hold him another time. And if he loses to Gunther at SummerSlam, his whole title reign would be nothing. And I don't see him beating Gunther, so I feel like Damian Priest's title reign is just not good because it's like you didn't win any, and it's not even like he wins in like the heel way. He just kind of wins by somebody helping him out when he doesn't want the help, and that just isn't good. Like that just doesn't help out. And they set up the whole thing in the backstage with like Finn saying boss and stuff, and we thought Finn might do something. I thought like legitimately there, I was like, Finn could go out there and screw Damien over just so Damien has to be out of the Judgment Day. And that would have been a pretty cool storyline too, but they just didn't do it. And I feel like they're holding this Judgment Day storyline as hot as they can until Rhea's back, and Rhea's not ready, so what do? And unfortunately, we kind of saw the ramifications here of just like that part of Damian Priest thing being completely messed up. Rollins went out there, showed that his knee is looked pretty 100%. He did some amazing stuff out there. He did a match. Him just in himself should be up in that best category because he did everything he was supposed to, and he looked good out there. The failed cash in with the CM Punk thing was really good because that brings that rivalry toy boiling hot. You got to get the match, which I think CM Punk is ready. So SummerSlam it is. But we got the interesting idea of that it could be a triple threat because Rollins was equally mad at CM Punk for costing him his opportunity. I think that's an interesting way of framing it because now we got some extra heat going there. So overall, with the threats of all this stuff, I'm gonna put it into a good match. I think the match itself was okay, and I think everything adding into it knocked it up to the good. I think we're gonna get in the long term. This match will be a lot more important to the stories for throughout the summer, but I still can't get past that botch pin. Then next up we had I think it was right after this or it could have been before this. We had John Cena coming out saying his retirement. It was hard to watch to a certain extent because he's the GOAT, he's such a big time wrestler of this modern era. But I'm excited to see what he does in his last year. I want to try to do a video on it. Maybe do something in 2K2, try to have like a visual representation of what he's gonna do, or like let him sim, like maybe we'll sim a year of what he does and see what he actually does being placed back into the modern era of wrestling and see if he can get championship 17. I do believe I think he does. I think he does. I think they give him that flowers. He if they can build him up and just you know let him have a small title reign before he officially retires. Um, but yeah, the thing is, I'd probably put it in amazing. I wouldn't probably put it in the best just because the majority of his stuff was like in the press conference that we got the details for. So yeah, it was a really good thing to see. Next up, we had the women's Money in the Bank. Uh, This match absolutely cooked the men's match, to be honest, with like just the spots and stuff. We'll start with the bad. I mean, we had the really bad botch by Zoe Stark where she nailed herself, which was just unfortunate. It's just a small mistake. It could have been worse. It's not like a complete botch compared to messing up pin. But Naomi has some really good spots. She definitely looked like a championship caliber out there. I honestly kept thinking with all the moves and all the stuff she was doing that she could slid up there and have been the Money in the Bank winner. But knowing that we got Damien to cash in already, it had to be a heel so somebody could hold on to it for hopefully past SummerSlam. And so we have that Money in the Bank out in the universe, which we ended up getting with Tiffany Stratton. Io absolutely was, I think, the best here because she just had some great spots. She had some great bumps and great spots. She did exactly what she did last year and just tenfolded it. Io just shows that she deserved that championship last year and deserved the Money in the Bank, and she deserves something else in the future. Either a title shot or just in a big feud because she showed up and showed out. So that was great. Lyra in her first year is had Queen of the Ring and now Money in the Bank. She's putting a solid resume of good matches together. I think she didn't get as many memorable spots in that match to a certain extent, but she did take some really good shit, good stuff around. Um, and then we got Chelsea Green, which the fear of ladder thing was pretty funny in the beginning, and then her getting knocked off the ladder into the tables was absolutely insane. I think she took that same spot in TNA, if I'm not mistaken. But man, to have that confidence of wanting to take that spot and taking that was chef's kiss. And then Zoe, like I said, she had the one botch. Overall, she did some work out there, but she kind of seemed a little lost. I think she was definitely the weakest of the six, but she's still fairly new too, so you got to give that to her. And everybody else has just showed up so much that you can kind of get overshadowed by a bunch of other people. And then you had Tiffany Stratton. I think she was the choice. She was my number one choice to win it. She had some really good stuff all over the place, and then finally was able to do it. I think it was the best. I think that was the best match of the night. I wouldn't really put it any lower. We had a little bit of the botch, but I don't think that really overall destroyed the match. I don't think it was at a pivotal spot that we had to see that. I think there was so many other spots there that could have been messed up. That would have been way more memorable. I just think obviously it's going to be memed and shown off because that's just how it goes. Then last but certainly not least, we had the Bloodline versus, um, you know, Team Babyface, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. The match itself was overall pretty decent. I feel like when we look at it in a whole, like I guess we knew like Jacob Fatu would be slid in there, which I think was a great idea. The only thing I'd say is that my feeling was Jacob Fatu outshined everybody else in the bloodline, and that's not what they needed. Like the whole point was to get Solo over, and that's why they had Solo pin Cody, so like you would have like a legitimate say, hey, I have a right to challenge you at SummerSlam. Um, which again, it's like a 50-50. I don't I feel like that definitely showed Solo being more of a beast, but again, it was just so loaded against the other team that it's like again, it's not a clean pin. If we would have had a clean pin, a clean thing, it could have been a lot different. Solo would have like they Team Bloodline definitely lost with the ref being taken out, and I'm not a big fan of the ref getting taken out spots, but it's it wasn't too bad with there. So overall, I mean, we had the botch low blow, which was pretty noticeable and pretty bad for the person who was not even in the match. We had one thing to do was that, and it messed that up. That was pretty bad. Um, Overall, like I said, I think Jacob Fatu just had an amazing night, and I think that really overshadowed the rest of the Bloodline side. Kevin Owens, showed his heart by like just getting absolutely annihilated 90% of that, and then just keep fighting, which is just his whole thing, and it worked out perfectly for him. And honestly, Cody looked the weakest on that side. He just, he was there, he did his thing, and then got pinned. So I think for storylines, I think this match ended up being, pretty decent. Overall, I'd probably just put it in the good category. Uh, there was a lot of good spots. I'll put it in amazing. The freaking table slam was awesome, and yeah, it I think just with overall, I think that the story that they told in the ring and with all the people, I think really could have got mixed up because I think one, like I said, Jacob Fatu, I think outshined everybody, and I don't think he needed to because the whole point is solo, and I think it was just like they could have ended it a different way, and they still could have like cheated or done something and pinned Cody, and it would have still had the same effect. But the botch ref is just I always hate when they do that because it's like you legitimately lost that match. It's just that you had nobody counting. I don't know. Maybe it's just more of a pet peeve on there. But here's my Money in the Bank match rating. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.